Alright, sometimes you're not dividing by just a binomial and you're dividing by a trinomial. So when you're dividing by a trinomial, it gets a little more difficult and a little more work, but you can only use long division when you have a degree of 2 or more. If you have a degree of just 1, you can use synthetic. If you have a degree of 2 or more, then you have to use long division. Okay, so that's what this states up here. Cannot use synthetic. So you may have something where you have to divide x squared plus x, that's a square there, x squared plus x minus 1, and then on the inside we have an x to the fourth, 3, 2, 1, 0, so we don't have to put any placeholders in. Write these out. I think I figured out why they call it long division. It takes forever. So, like we did before, we're only worried about the first terms in each, in your divisor and your dividend. So if we just worry about 6x to the fourth and the x squared, we're going to take 6x to the fourth, divide by x squared. You end up with just 6x squared, so that goes on top. And we have to take 6x squared times all 3 of these terms. So you're going to have to multiply it by the x squared. You get a 6x to the fourth. Multiply it by the x. You get a 6x to the third. Multiply it by the negative 1, and you get a negative 6x squared. We have to divide everything. So when you divide everything, or sorry, you have to subtract everything. When you subtract everything, you need to change your signs on everything in the red row. So negative, plus. Cancel. You get a negative 7x to the third plus 5x squared plus 9x. Can't bring down your 3 yet, so you can only bring down the 9x. So now what we're worried about is just the first term. You have your x squared and your negative 7x to the third. So we're going to take negative 7x to the third, divide by x squared, you get a negative 7x, so that goes on top. So negative 7x, you have to multiply all of these by the x squared, and by the x, and by the negative 1. So that's going to give us a negative 7x to the third minus, sorry, that's going to be a negative 7x squared plus 7x. Go through and change all your signs. So when you subtract, some people like to forget this step. When you subtract, you need to change all of your signs. So this becomes a plus, plus, negative. Cancel. 5 plus 7. So you carry the 4. Should be a 12x squared plus 2x. And then the next thing is you're going to bring down the negative 3. So you get. Alright, so after you bring down the negative 3, then you need to take your 12x squared and you're going to divide that by x squared. So if you have a 12x squared divided by x squared, that just gives you a 12. So you put a plus 12 up here and you multiply your 12 through. That's going to give you a 12x squared plus 12x minus 12. And you're going to have to change all of your signs once again. So negative, this becomes negative, this becomes positive. First term cancels. You end up with a negative 10x plus 9. Now if you try to factoring or dividing it further, you can't really, because if you take this negative 10x and try to divide it by an x squared, you get negative 10 over x, and you can't have that. That's not a possibility. So do not do that. This ends up being your remainder. So if this is your remainder, the way you write your answer is you just make this a plus, write your remainder on top, so negative 10x plus 9 all over x squared plus x minus 1. And this ends up being your final solution. So, nice example of long and boring division.